news and events COVID-19 on from July 17 and July 19. F-Note, this is a collaborative video made between Travel for All Fanpage and Knowledge of Coronavirus channel. Please respectfully welcome everyone. The following is the remarkable news most as follows. 1. Updated global COVID-19 on July 19 in 2020. Authorities in 214 countries and territories have reported about 14.3 million COVID-19 cases and 603,000 deaths since China reported its first cases to the World Health Organization, WHO, in December. According to the worldometers.info statistics page, as of 6 a.m. July 19, Asia time, the world recorded more than 14.4 million cases of COVID-19, of which there were more than 604,084 deaths. More than 8.5 million people have recovered. Meanwhile, according to the World Health Organization, WHO, the number of new COVID-19 cases was a record high globally on July 18, with a total of 259,848 cases. According to the organization, the countries with the highest number of new cases on July 18 were the United States, 71,484, Brazil, 45,403, India, 34,884, and South Africa, 13,373. 2. American news. The United States is still the country most heavily affected by the COVID-19 pandemic in the world in terms of both the number of cases and deaths. As of 6 a.m. July 19, the U.S. has a total of 3,715,166 cases, of which nearly 140,131 were fatal. Last updated on July 19, 2020 at 11 o'clock a.m. ET. Source from Johns Hopkins University System Science and Technology Center. The U.S. is still trying to contain the disease at both state and local levels, but to no avail. The U.S. Governor of Mississippi said nearly 900 people were hospitalized in the state with COVID-19. On June 27, there were 490 patients in the hospital bed. Today that number is close to 890. Meanwhile, COVID-19 hospital admissions continue to decline across the U.S. state of New York, and health officials are seeing a new low since March 18, when the number of people hospitalized has dropped to 722. It is very worrying news, as this is the last week that Americans will receive a $600 coronavirus unemployment payment from the Federation. 3. French news. Open testing center at beach in the heart of Paris. Parisians have begun to flock to Paris plages, an annual program to turn some parts of the Seine into a beach resort in the French capital. But this year, the people of Paris gathered at the new location of Paris plages, coronavirus testing centers. Figures show that 19 has been back in many places throughout France, including the capital Paris. Many local governments have implemented strict testing policies to prevent the disease from returning, like the period from March to May. 4. India news. According to worldometers.info, India has recorded 1,055,932 cases of COVID-19 so far, including 26,508 deaths. The DMA website on July 18, citing the announcement of the Indian Medical Association (IMA), said the SARS-CoV-2 virus had begun to spread among the community, and the situation of the COVID-19 epidemic in India was quite bad. Dr. V.K. Manga, chairman of IMA's Hospital Council, said that cases had grown exponentially, adding more than 30,000 new infections every day. This is really a bad situation, and generally the disease has spread to the countryside, where it is difficult to control the situation. This bad signal shows the spread in the community. 5. Israel news. The country currently has nearly 50,000 COVID-19 cases, and about 400 people have died from the disease. Israel has reopened its schools and businesses since May and relaxed the limit after a partial blockade in March. However, the number of COVID-19 cases in the country has increased sharply in recent months. In Jerusalem, hundreds of people gathered outside Mr. Netanyahu's home on July 18, asking the government to support businesses and people affected by the epidemic. The unemployment rate here is up to 21%. Israeli police had to use a tornado to disperse protesters around Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's home, with reports that protesters surrounded Netanyahu's home to protest the government's handling of the COVID-19 epidemic and suspicion his corruption. In May, the Israeli Prime Minister was accused of bribery, fraud and irresponsibility. He denied these allegations. 6. Japanese news. On July 18, the Tokyo Metropolitan Government, Japan, confirmed another 290 cases of COVID-19. This is the third day in a row that the number of new infections in a city in this day is over 200. A day earlier, Tokyo had detected 293 new cases, the highest since the COVID-19 outbreak in the country in mid-January 2020. This makes many people worried that Tokyo is facing the second wave of infection. 7. Indonesia news. In Indonesia, the Ministry of Health said on July 18 it had recorded an additional 1,752 cases and 59 deaths, bringing the total number of infections and deaths from COVID-19 to 84,882 and 4,106 cases, respectively. The number of recovered patients has increased by 1,434 to 43,268. 8. Egyptian news. Official figures in Egypt show that the country has the highest number of deaths in the Arab world, 4,120 deaths on July 17. Egyptian President El-Sisi used draconian measures to quell criticism in his handling of the epidemic. Egyptian security authorities have arrested health workers for actions and opinions on health workers' health protection and medical equipment. Pandemic is devastating tourism, one of the main sources of income of Egypt. The Egyptian government made a decision this month that the country has no choice but to live with the disease. 9. Iran news. The Iranian president released shocking data with 25 million people infected with COVID-19, nearly 7 times the U.S. Iran, with a population of over 80 million, is the Middle East nation most heavily affected by the COVID-19 epidemic. Speaking live on television on July 18, Iranian President Hassan Rouhani said that 25 million Iranians infected with COVID-19 were based on a new Ministry of Health report. Iran is currently facing a difficult period due to both facing Western sanctions and facing low oil prices and the COVID-19 epidemic causing social tensions. 10. China news. The capital of Xinjiang, China, has launched an emergency response plan. Reuters reported on July 18 that Urumqi, the capital of Xinjiang area in western China, had just entered a wartime state and launched an emergency response plan after the city suddenly recorded 16 new cases of COVID-19 on the previous day. It is known that the city has stopped gathering and ordered people to restrict trips to other households. The government also urged residents not to make unnecessary trips out of the city, and anyone who needs to leave Urumqi must be tested for COVID-19 to prevent the spread of the disease. According to the South China Morning Post, China has also sent medical professionals to Xinjiang. In particular, a group led by officials at the China National Health Commission (NHC) arrived in Xinjiang on July 18. 21 medical staff from Wuhan arrived in Urumqi on the same day. On its official Weibo account, the regional government on July 18 said all new cases and recent asymptomatic cases in Xinjiang were recorded in Urumqi. The city of 3.5 million has been frozen since the night of July 16 after recording its first case in about 150 days. Our newsletter is now over. Thank you for always watching and supporting our videos. Knowledge of coronavirus, channel and travel for all fanpage respectfully, and see you in the next video.